Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to welcome you all to the kickoff event of the new Oxygen XML Editor webinar series. My name is Alim Belu, and I will be your host for today's webinar titled Integrating Various Documents Formats into DITA Documentation. As we all know, some documentation projects require a mix of document formats. For example, DITA for content, Markdown for release notes, JSON for API documentation. With this in mind, my colleague Cosmin Duna, senior software developer at Syncrosoft, the company that develops the Oxygen XML suite of products, created today's event in which he will demonstrate how you can integrate OpenAPI, Word, Markdown, HTML, and Excel content into your DITA documentation by simply using the Oxygen tools and features. So, in the following hour, you will get more insight on subjects such as referencing content from various types of non-DITA resources directly in DITA documents, dynamically converting various types of non-DITA resources to DITA while publishing, or converting various formats into DITA and integrating them into your project. But before Cosmin starts his presentation, I'll take just a few moments to share with you some useful information that you need to know when it comes to today's live event. As always, all of our webinars are being recorded, so today's event makes no difference. After the webinar comes to an end, the recording will be made available on the event page on our site, oxygenxml.com, along with Cosmin's presentation slides. And also, the recording will be uploaded on our YouTube channel titled Oxygen XML, which you might know by now. I encourage you to take a look at the impressive library of tutorials on many different subjects that are available there for you. And another important aspect is that as we go along, we encourage you to ask us questions by using the questions panel from the GoToWebinar interface, where another one of our colleagues, Radu Koravu, DITA XML expert, will assist us by answering to all of your questions in real time. And of course, we will be addressing those questions again at the end in a Q&A session, along with the latest entries for the benefit of everyone joining us today. So with this being said, let us give a warm welcome to Cosmin Duna as he is taking the virtual stage once again. Hi, Cosmin.
Hello, Aline. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being present here. In today's webinar, I will show you some features recently included in Oxygen that may come in handy when you want to include documents that are not DITA into your DITA documentation. So some documentation projects require a mix of documents format, for example, DITA for content, Markdown for release notes, or JSON or YAML for REST API documentation. I will show you how you can integrate OpenAPI, Word, Markdown, HTML, and Excel content into your DITA documentation using Oxygen. We named these file types DITA-compatible, and I will use this term during the presentation. So let's explore our agenda for today. First of all, we will discuss how we can insert references to DITA-compatible documents. After, we will see how we can validate the documentation that contains these types of files. Then we will see how we can transform DITA maps with DITA-compatible documents. We will also have some live demonstrations with the integration of OpenAPI, Markdown, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and HTML. And in the end, I will present how you can convert multiple documents to DITA. So let's start with the references. Oxygen allows inserting references to documents that are not DITA, like OpenAPI version 2, 3, or 3.1 in JSON or YAML format, also to Word, Markdown, HTML, and Excel. You can insert cross-references using the cross-reference dialog box. Also, you can insert content references using the reuse content dialog box, and topic reference into a DITA map using the insert reference dialog box. When one of these dialogs is used and the DITA-compatible document is selected, Oxygen converts it in the background and handles it as a DITA document, presenting a list of DITA-specific IDs from the target document. The inserted references are resolved and expanded in the author mode, and the reference content is converted and displayed as DITA. Let's see how we can validate the DITA documentation that contains these DITA-compatible files. So when the referenced resource cannot be resolved, an error will be presented on the author page or in the DITA Maps Manager view. Also, the validate and check for completeness action from the DITA Maps Manager toolbar can be used to check the integrity of the structure of the DITA map. The reference DITA compatible document are converted to DITA topics in the background and are validated the same as other DITA topics. You should validate your DITA maps regularly to make sure that your documents are valid and that all of the relationship between them are working. Also, the publishing engine from Oxygen allows to dynamically convert DITA-compatible resources to DITA while publishing. So the OpenAPI, Markdown, Word, Excel, or HTML files from your DITA documentation can be published to any transformation scenario. To enable this support, you must specify one of the following attributes for the one of the following value for the format attribute on the topic ref element or on the xref element that reference the non-DITA resources. The values are OpenAPI to DITA, Word to DITA, Excel to DITA, HTML to DITA, and Markdown to DITA. When you use the dialog boxes from Oxygen for inserting references, the format are automatically added. Before starting the live demonstration, I must mention that these features use the dynamic converter DITA auto plugin from the publishing engine bundled with Oxygen. So if you have a custom DITA open toolkit set in Oxygen, make sure it contains this plugin. Otherwise, these features will not be available. Now, let's see how we can integrate OpenAPI into DITA documentation. I prepare an OpenAPI sample document which we are going to integrate. It's an OpenAPI in JSON format, version 3.0. As I said before, these integration features also supports the YAML format and other OpenAPI versions like 2 or 3.1. This document contains an info object, an external docs, servers, tags, also contains operations and components with reusable object like schemas and others. For integrated it in DITA, the JSON document must be valid and conform to the OpenAPI specification. Oxygen contains an integrate OpenAPI validation, and I can validate this document right here, and everything is it's all right with this. I will open a DITA map and a topic in the main editor. And I will start by inserting a cross-reference at the end of this paragraph. The action for inserting this reference can be found on the toolbar or in the contextual menu from the author mode. Here, I will invoke it. And in this dialog, I have to browse for the OpenAPI file. Here, I have a filter for choosing the DITA-compatible files, and I select it and search for the OpenAPI document, this one, and click open. And as you can see, the OpenAPI document was converted in the background, and the target IDs are presented here. We have an ID, this one, for a topic that contains introductory objects like intro, external docs, and servers. Also, for every tag, we have a topic ID like this one, but the ID was generated using the name of the tag. For every operation from the REST API, we also have a topic, and the ID of it was generated using the operation ID field from the OpenAPI. When this field is not available, the ID is generated using the operation path and the HTTP method. The operation topic contains also other elements with IDs like operation name and short description and others. Also, we have IDs for component object, this one, and for usable object inside components like schemas, responses, parameters, and others. In this case, I will insert a reference to the topic that present the API methods grouped by the store tag. So I will filter by store, and here I select the store, and here I will search for the topic ID. This one, I select it and click insert and close. As you can observe, the reference was resolved and the title of the topic is presented in this author page. On the text page, you can notice that the OpenAPI to DITA format was automatically added. And also you can use here in text page the content completion for editing the target ID. Now I will open another topic for inserting a content reference. In this topic, I would like to insert a reference to an operation from the REST API that can be used to access pets from the store. Let's search for it. Is this one. I can copy the summary or the operation ID to search for it in the use content dialog. And here I will invoke the use content action that can be found on the toolbar or in the contextual menu right here. And I will invoke it. Here I will browse for the OpenAPI file. As you can observe, the file was converted and the target IDs are presented. I will paste the summary text. select the topic and click Insert. As you can see, the reference content from the REST API is converted and expanded here in the author page. So we added a content reference to a REST API operation and another cross-reference, but the OpenAPI document was not included in the data map. We should do it. I will go and select the map in the data maps manager and invoke the reference action from the contextual menu. Here I filter the files using the DITA-compatible files filter and select the OpenAPI file. Again, the document was converted in the background and the target IDs of the topics are presented in this combo. Also, the OpenAPI to DITA format was automatically selected, and I click Insert and close for inserting the topic reference. Now, let's see how validation works. As I said before, I will see errors in the author page instead of the resolved content if the references are invalid. For example, I will go in the OpenAPI file and change the operation ID. When I move on the author page, instead of the resolved content, I have an error. Also, these cases are catched by the validate and check for completeness actions that can be found on the toolbar here in the Maps Manager. And I will apply this validation. In Plus, the referenced OpenAPI is converted to DITA topics in the background and validated the same as any other DITA documents. And here you can see that the validation detected the broken link in the OpenAPI document. I can search here for API response to find the ID, and I will correct it. And also I will correct the operation ID here and validate again. And everything is okay right now. The referenced OpenAPI content will also be dynamically converted and included in the publishing process. To demonstrate it, I will transfer the map to Web Help to see the result. Okay, let's check the references. In the accessing data page, I have the content from the find by status operation, this one. And in the benefits page, I have the reference to the OpenAPI store methods. And this is the OpenAPI document in Web Help. And also, if you want, you can publish it to PDF too. Now, let's move to the next integration. I also prepared a live demonstration for integrating Markdown. I have this Markdown document that contains the what's new list for the release of the new REST API. let's say. And this can be a README document that usually stays on GitHub. I want to insert a cross-reference to the What's New section from Markdown in this topic right here. For this, I will invoke the cross-reference action from the toolbar. And here I will browse for the Markdown file. You can see the Markdown was converted in the background to DITA, and the target IDs are presented here. The IDs on the topics are generated using the text of the headings. There is also a syntax in Markdown that can be used for setting IDs on headings. For example, on this heading, I can set an ID like this, last version. I recommend using this syntax because the references to these RTs are more stable than the ones to IDs generated from the headings text. Now I will go back in the topic and invoke again the cross-reference action. Okay, and here you can see that the ID was changed. I will select it and click Insert and Close. As in previous integration, the reference content is resolved on the author page. Also, if I go in the text page, I can use the content completion for editing the target ID. I will also add a topic reference into the data map for this what new section. So for this, I will invoke right here the reference action. And here I will select the Markdown document. And in this combo, I can choose the ID of the topic that contain this what's new section and click Insert and Close. The validate and check for completeness action detect broken references and dynamically converts Markdown files and validates them the same ways as any other data topic. For example, if I go in the Markdown document and remove this ID, and now validate the data map, you can see that the two broken references were found. Let's correct it. Now let's publish the data map to WebHelp to see the result. Okay, you can see the reference is here and is valid, and this is the web error resulting from Markdown. Now, what about integrating Microsoft Word? I also prepared a live demonstration for this one. I will close the old files. And open another data map sample. So I have this documentation about flowers and two small documents in Microsoft Word from a colleague that doesn't know DITA. As I said before, this integration is based on conversion, and this works best for Microsoft Word when documents are formatted using the Word styles. The converter will know to handle most of the default styles and the custom styles that are based on default styles. So let's check the document first to see if they are properly styles. For example, this salvia paragraph is styled as normal text, and it will be handled as a simple paragraph, not as a heading. So I will apply the heading to style on it, and the rest of the document looks fine. Save the changes, and now open the other document, and this looks fine too. Now let's see how we can insert a content reference. I open this topic and I invoke the reuse content action from the toolbar. In this open dialog, I choose the Word document. The document was converted in the background to DITA, but we don't have so many IDs inside of it. The converter has a mechanism for getting IDs on topics resulting from headings using the internal IDs, bookmarks, or heading text. For the rest of the Word elements like paragraphs, tables, or images, the bookmarks are preserved as IDs. So I have to open the Word document and add a bookmark on the paragraph I want to reuse. I would like to reuse this first paragraph, so I selected it and I will invoke the bookmark action from here. Here I type the name of the bookmark, let's say pruning description, and click add. Now save the document and go in Oxygen and invoke the reuse content action again. You can observe in the target list we have a new ID. I select it and click insert and close. Note that on the author page the reference content was resolved. Because I use content from this Word document, I have to add it in the DITA map. So I select the map and invoke the reference action from the contextual menu. Here I choose the Word file, and because I don't want to bind this resource to the navigation tree, I will specify the resource only value for the processing role attribute and click insert and close. And the document was added into the map. I also want to include the second Word document that contains autumn flowers into the map and insert a cross-reference to this. I will select the node from the map and invoke the reference action from the append child submenu. Here I select the document and click insert. For inserting the cross-reference, I will open flowers by season topic. Here I select the reference text and I invoke the cross-reference action. I will browse again for the Word document and choose the topic that describe autumn flowers. Okay, as in other cases, the conversion format, in this case Word to DITA, was automatically inserted, and the content completion can also be used in the text space for inserting the references. Okay, the validate and check for completion action will also validate the integrity of the data map and will catch the broken references. With it will also convert the Word files in the background and validate them in the same way as data files. Let's validate this flowers data map. And because the Word file was validated the same as other data documents, a broken external link was found in this Word document. I will open it to correct it, and is this one from here. I will delete it for now and save the document. Now, what about integrating an Excel document? Sometimes you don't want to migrate the tables from Excel to DITA because you have some formulas inside. A solution for these cases is to integrate the tables into DITA documentation using a content reference. I prepare a Excel document for this case too. It's a document that contains a table, and I will open the care preparation topic and invoke the use content action. Here I browse for the Excel file. As you can observe, the Excel document was converted in the background and the target IDs are presented. The converter will create a table for every sheet and will use its name for generated table IDs. I will select this table element and click Insert and Close. And because I use content from this file, I have to reference it into the data map. For this, I will select the last node from the data map and invoke the reference action from the Insert After submenu. In this dialog, I choose the Excel file, and because I don't want to bind it into the navigation tree, I will select the resource only value for this attribute. Also note here that the Excel to data value was automatically selected for the format attribute, and I will click Insert and Close. Now let's see how we can integrate an HTML document. This is an HTML document that I prepared for this demonstration. I want to insert a cross-reference and a content reference to this file. I will start by adding a topic reference into this HTML into DITA map. I will select this node and invoke the reference action. Here, select the HTML document and click Insert and close. When working with HTML, the things are not so different that with DITA documents. You can add an ID on this paragraph, for example. It attributes ID, let's say winter description, and click OK. And after, you can reuse it in other DITA topics. I will insert content reference right after this paragraph. I choose the HTML. The file was converted to DITA, and I can select the ID I have just added to the HTML file and click Insert. I forgot to save the HTML document. Okay. Let's also insert an xref to the winter flower content from the HTML here. I will invoke the cross-reference action. Here, select the HTML document and select the topic, the target ID of the topic that present the winter flowers, and click Insert and close. Before publishing it, I want to validate the DITA map. The validation found an error in the HTML file. It's a broken reference here that I left on purpose for this demonstration. I fix it and validate again. Now let's publish this DITA map to Web Help. It's a map that contains Word, Excel, and HTML content. In the current preparation page, you can see content from the Word document, also the table from the Excel. In the flowers by season page, we have HTML content from the HTML document, and also cross-reference to pages resulting from Word, this one, and to the page resulting from HTML. Now let's go back to the presentation slides. Usually, in most cases, you will not want to integrate document. You will want to migrate your content to DITA. The Batch Documents Converter add-on is a powerful tool that will help in the migration process. It provides conversions from OpenAPI, Microsoft Word, Markdown, HTML, and Microsoft Excel to DITA and others. It can be easily installed in Oxygen using the Batch Documents Converter action from the Tools menu. The add-on allows conversion to a DITA map with referenced DITA topics and supports the conversion of multiple documents or directories with files. Let's have a quick live demonstration and show you how this add-on can be used. I already have the add-on installed in my application, but when this is not installed, the install action can be found here instead of this batch documents converter submenu. The actions can be found in this menu. Also in the additional conversion submenu for the file import. They can also be found in the contextual menu from the project view here, and in the contextual menu from the DITA maps manager. Here we have an import submenu into the append child, insert before, and insert after submenus. This action from the DITA maps manager will automatically insert reference to the resulting documents into the map. I will convert the documents that I prepared for the previous demonstration, starting with the OpenAPI. So I select the file in the project view and invoke the OpenAPI to DITA conversion. The option for controlling if the output will be a DITA map is found in this dialog, this one. When it's not checked, the output will be a DITA composite with inner topics. When it's checked, the add-on will create a DITA map with reference topics. I will keep it checked and convert the document. The result is a DITA map that has topics for the introduction objects, this one. Also topics for tags, these two, and for operations like this one. It also contains topic for components, this one, and for the usable object inside components like schemas. Now let's move to the Word documents. Before starting the Word conversion, you have to make sure that you use the Word styles in your documents. As I said before, the converter will know to handle the default styles and the custom styles that are based on the default styles. The unknown styles will be converted to simple paragraphs, and a warning will be reported for each of them in the results view when converting the document. You can configure the conversion by adding mappings for styles in this Word styles mapping table from the preferences page of the add-on. For our example, we don't need to change the default configuration, so I will close the preferences page. I will select the Word document in the project view and invoke the Word to DITA action. The create DITA map for Word documents containing multiple headings allows to choose if the output will be a DITA topic or a DITA map. When the option is checked, sections marked by title and heading styles will be extracted into separate DITA topics, and these topics will be referenced in the output DITA map. I will convert the document. As you can see, the hierarchy from the DITA map is the same as the one from the Word document, and the formatting, let's open this one, and the formatting of the text was preserved. You can also convert Markdown. I selected this document and invoke the Markdown to DITA. We have an usher in this dialog too for choosing if you want to create a DITA map. This time the topics will be extracting for sections marked by Markdown headings. And the result is a DITA map with 2 topics. Let's also convert HTML. Okay, and invoke the HTML to DITA action. Like in previous dialogues, we have this option for controlling the output type, and I will keep this option checked and click convert. The converter creates a hierarchy of topics that corresponds with the headings from the original document. Also, you can see the formatting on the text and the image were preserved. And finally, let's convert the Excel file. I will invoke the Excel to DITA action and click convert. The result is a DITA topic containing a table that preserves the structure of the one from the Excel document. Well, this brings me to the end of my presentation. I provided some useful links for further information. If you want to know more about migration, you can watch the recording from my last webinar about migrating to DITA and refactoring. Thank you for your attention. Now it's time for the Q&A part. I will invite my colleague Radu to present some of your questions. Hello, Radu.
Hello, Cosmin. Thanks for a very interesting presentation. For those of you who do not know, Cosmin is in charge of the batch converter in Oxygen. So all these features that you're using when you convert DocBook documents or Excel documents to DITA, and these features which save you a lot of time, Cosmin is the main developer in charge of them. Going through the questions, a question from Larry. When Oxygen converted the file to DITA, did it store the converted file in the same folder as the source file? And my answer was that the conversion is done at publishing time. And when we try to add links to various sections from the Word document, for example, for OpenAPI document, we just build in memory a DITA equivalent of the Word document. But with this dynamic publishing, we do not keep anything on disk. If you want to keep something on disk, you can use the batch converter and actually save DITA content on your local drive. A question from Michael. Does the new word conversion functionality surpass improve the word to DITA transformation in the batch converter plugin? And my answer was that it's based on the same libraries, so it should be more or less the same. Do you have anything to add?
No, the 2 conversion are based on the same base. So as you said, they should be almost the same. in the Bash documents converter, we can obtain a DITA map with topics. The conversion from the dynamic conversion creates a DITA topic in the background. So this is the difference.
Moving on to Andrew, if you convert an API doc revision A in JSON to DITA and then have loads of xrefs, hrefs, conrefs, and so on, when the developers create a revision B of the API documentation, when you convert the revision B to DITA, do you have to add all those elements from scratch again? So the answer is that all those xrefs, conrefs, and so on point to various target IDs in the converted document. So if the target IDs remain the same, those will be valid links, even if the developers create a new revision of the same JSON API, OpenAPI document. Otherwise, you may end up with the invalid links, and the valid attention for completeness feature in the DITA maps manager should report such links. Cosmin, do you have anything to add here?
Yes, the topics that results from the operation from the OpenAPI have the ID that is generated from the operation ID field from the REST API. So if it is not changed, the reference should remain valid.
And two similar questions from Andrew and Uwe. Are there any plans for integrating content from cloud documents like Google Docs? And then they also mentioned Google Sheets. And in my opinion, these are not tangible formats. I cannot say I want to obtain this Google Doc and convert it to DITA. Google has these options to export their documents to Microsoft Word, for example, or to open document format. But we cannot obtain that content directly from the Google Cloud and then convert it on the fly, in my opinion. Maybe we can look into this, but I'm not sure this can be done. Cosmin, anything to add here?
No.
Moving on, Andrew, do these features concern version 25 and above only? We are currently on version 24. What's your take on this, Cosmin?
These features of inserting references are available starting with version 25, so they are not available in older versions. You can convert documents using Bash documents converter on older versions, but this dynamic converter, when inserting references, is not available.
I think for what I remember in Oxygen 24.1, you could still refer in the DITA map to a Word document and have that work, but you couldn't link to a section from the Word document in another topic, for example. Stuart says, not a question, just wanted to say thanks, it was very interesting. And it was. Edwin again says, thank you, a very useful presentation. Again, congrats from John Pashley, excellent presentation, Cosmin. Chris Taylor says, thank you, are the presentation slides available online? And from what I remember, we should, after we get the recording on our website, we should also create a zip containing the PDF of the slides and make it available to you. Edwin says, I believe there are several flavors of Markdown. Do you know which ones you support? And I think we are mostly oriented towards GitHub flavored Markdown with a couple of extensions. But indeed, there are so many flavors of Markdown that you cannot support them all. It's an entire ecosystem of flavors which are not entirely compatible between them. Any comment on this, Cosmin?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Edna says, how well is the conversion if the HTML file contains tables? Cosmin, any feedback on that?
The table should be converted to DITA too. So
okay. Yudong says, what could be the requirements for the system to be used to publish this kind of data map with mixed file formats? So with Oxygen 25, you can publish from inside Oxygen such a data map. Or if you want to convert from the command line, you can get our Oxygen publishing engine and publish using it. MJ says, do you guys convert Python file or RST? And the answer is no. No, we don't convert them to, I don't know, to database documentation or something. MJ says, great presentation. And Andrew says, thanks for the nice presentation and lots of food for thought. And from Edwina says, I believe the Markdown we use in our company is ASCII-doc. So ASCII-doc is another form of text-based structure editing, not compatible with Markdown, and we do not, at least yet, support converting it to data, either dynamically or to our batch converter. But I think you can convert ASCII-doc to HTML or to docbook using the pendoc utility. It's a free utility you can find, and then convert that docbook to data or that HTML to data using the batch converter add-on that Oxygen Cosmin has created for Oxygen. And Chris says, great presented and well delivered. I'm well excited to try the Markdown and HTML features. Thank you, Chris. And thanks for the questions, Cosmin. Do you have any closing arguments?
no, thank you all for being present here.
Okay, thank you everyone in attendance for showing your involvement through your questions. And again, thank you, Cosmin and Radu, for providing our audience with the requested answers. Let me take back control. And as Radu previously said, the event is indeed being recorded, and you will find the recording along with Cosmin's presentation slides on the event page starting tomorrow. And if you have any comments or questions regarding Cosmin's presentation, you can write to us directly by using the Oxygen feedback commenting platform found at the bottom of that same page. But before saying goodbye, let me say a few words about our upcoming live webinars where you can meet the rest of the Oxygen team. So on December 7th, on the 7th of December, we will have Creating and Designing JSON Schemas webinar presented by Octavian Nadolu. This webinar will present various powerful tools that are provided in Oxygen that allow you to design, develop, and edit JSON schemas. We will focus on presenting features ranging from the new intuitive and expressive visual schema design mode to the JSON schema documentation generator that includes diagram images for each component. And you will also meet Octavian on the future on the next two events. Actually, on December 14, we will have the OpenAPI support in Oxygen. And in this live webinar, you will discover the support offered in Oxygen for OpenAPI documents, as well as how to create, edit, test, and generate documentation for OpenAPI documents. And beginning next year on January 11, Octavian will return with its Validating XML and JSON documents using Oxygen scripting webinar, because with the latest release of the Oxygen suite of products, version 25, additional support was developed for validating XML and JSON files via Oxygen XML scripting. So this webinar will cover details about this newly implemented validation scripting support, as well as showing examples on how to use it efficiently. And we won't be stopping there, as we will also be looking at how you can use transformation or comparison scripts. And the last scheduled event will take place on January 25. It will be called What's New in Oxygen XML Web Author 25. And it will be presented by my colleague Bogdan Dumitru. And during this live webinar, you will discover the new features included in the latest release of Oxygen XML Web Author related to DITA map files editing, as well as other general enhancements that will improve your editing experience regardless of the edited document type. Also, we encourage you to take a look at our events page, where you can also find the links to register for free to all of our future events. Now, as a few closing words, I want to thank you all again for joining us today. I hope you had a great time and you enjoyed all the information that Cosmin brought to you today. So thank you, Cosmin, and thank you, Radu, as well, for helping us with the audience's questions. We have some great events ahead of us, and I hope that some of you will be able to join us again for those future webinars. And until next time, stay safe, and taking in consideration your respective time zones, have a nice day or evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.